Good evening. Apologies for the short delay getting started. Welcome to Watford Borough Council, 18th of July 2023. I'm Councillor Simon Feldman. I'm the Chair of Watford Borough Council. Also present today are Mayor Peter Taylor and all other councillors for Watford, unless apologies have been received. We're supported today by Donna Lowland, the Chief Executive, Carol Chen, Group Head of Democracy and Governance, Alison Scott, Director of Finance, and officers from Democratic Services. Just a quick reminder, if you would like to speak, please make sure you're standing when you're speaking and press the button on your microphone. And if you wish to vote, please also raise your hand so the officers can see you clearly. Before we continue, just need to advise, we're not expecting any fire drills this evening. Therefore, if the alarm sounds, please leave quickly as possible via the exits to there, and make your outside via the fire exits to the library where we'll gather and check everyone is accounted for. Item number 1, apologies for absence. Apologies for absence have been received from Councillor Kloss and Councillor Williams. Are there any other apologies?
Councillor Rodriguez has sent his apologies.
Thank you very much. Item number 2, the disclosures of interest. Do members have any interest to declare of any items in tonight's agenda? Okay, perfect. Item number 3, minutes. Do members agree that I sign the minutes of annual council held on the 23rd of May 2023 as a correct record? All those in favour? Perfect. Minutes are agreed. Item number 4, official announcements. Firstly, Councillor Lenny Nembard, on behalf of the council, I'd like to congratulate you on your MBE in the King's Birthday Honours. So well done, Councillor Nembard. And congratulations to other Watford residents who were recognised in the honours list. It is great to have so many in Watford. A few reminders, members briefing. There's a Watford Citizen Advice briefing, which will be Thursday evening about their services available to Watford residents. If you've not responded yet to the invitation from Democratic Services, please do so as soon as possible to enable her to know the expected numbers coming. Next Monday, we have the Mental Health Business Awareness Workshop, which I'll be leading. My charity Hertfordshire Mind will be hosting the workshop. It will be held here in the Town Hall Annex. So if you do know any businesses that would like to attend, please make them aware. As we come into summer, you should have the leaflets on your table for Watford's big events. There's free and low-cost events in Watford. Please share this information with your residents. The big screen, which I'm sure we're all looking forward to, starts next Monday in the town centre before it moves on to the Woodside playing fields. Also, the free swim and gym starts from Monday at the Central and Woodside leisure centres for residents aged 19 and under, plus lots more is going on. My events since annual council. Since being elected chairman, it's been a busy 2 months. So I've had to enlist the help of the vice chair and ex-chairman. So thank you very much for everyone's help in being involved. A few events that have happened have been the flag raising for Pride Month, Armed Forces Day and Windrush Day flag raising, the inauguration of Watford Mullaly Cultural Association, Armed Forces lunches and jazz and funk gigs at the Watford Palace Theatre. Item number 5, Mayor's Report. A report of the Mayor is attached to the agenda. Please can you raise your hand now if you wish to ask a question of the Mayor? Okay, so let me just note those down. Bell. Okay. Oh, yeah, I've got everyone perfect. Following members have indicated they wish to ask questions. So first, I'll start with Councillor Treba.
No, you have to work. Mayor has to.
Oh, sorry, my apologies.
Thank you, Chairman. As ever, I'm very happy to answer questions on any aspects of the report. But before I do that, I did give notification before the meeting. I'm sure that most councillors are aware that sadly Councillor Williams isn't here this evening and will be having medical treatment later on this year. And in advance of that, we've now got the council's leave policy to support him through that process. From the 1st of October, Councillor Rodriguez will be covering his portfolio for a period of 6 months. I know that we'll all be thinking about Tim and his family during this difficult period, but as I say, in order to support him while he has that treatment and recovers, Councillor Rodriguez will be covering his portfolio for a period of about 6 months, starting from the 1st of October. And I just wanted to make Council aware of that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And on that note, I'm sure the rest of the council would like to send their wishes and support to Tim Williams, who works really, really hard. So we will send a letter from the council sending our support to Tim Williams. Thank you, everyone, for your support during this time for him. I'll take the first question. Go from Councillor Trebar. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for your report, Mayor. The fly tipping, that's my question. And I've got a feeling you might know what I'm going to ask you, but I will say it again, as I have done before. 2 words, Chester Road. We've had so many complaints. It's literally now every single week. And it's not just fly tipping, it's also antisocial behaviour as well. I know that Mo Mills has talked to you about this, my predecessor, but just the amount of residents that are coming forward, it is becoming a bit of an epidemic. And we wondered if we perhaps have the mobile unit there at some point. The second, this one is a suggestion, if I may, which is, you know, this lovely Watford Council pamphlet magazine. I thought maybe it might be worth spending a little bit of this to talk about fly tipping, because I think some residents are not aware that it is illegal. I think some residents don't realise that they're not supposed to do it. They put something outside the door and it gets cleared. So, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that. I think it's, just on the magazine, I think it's important residents know how the money's being spent. It's always well received. And of course, it's got the contact details of every councillor at the back there. On the issue of Chester Road, very happy to discuss that. As you mentioned, the mobile CCTV, they have gone in. There's initial ones. Obviously, it's a trial period and we'll be looking at the impact they make. There have been issues about certain roads and the ability to put them in, because it isn't a case that we can put them on any street. We have to work with the county council's issues around electricity supply. But I note the point about Chester Road. The other thing that I would, of course, always encourage residents to report every case of fly tipping. It's always removed very promptly by the crew at Veolia, and every case is investigated. And if there's ever evidence to support a prosecution, the perpetrators are prosecuted. But you're right, part of the job is around education, and I know Veolia and Watford Borough Council officers do a lot of work around that as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Bell, please.
Thank you, Chair. And can I, first of all, offer my best wishes, and I'm sure my group's best wishes to Councillor Tim Williams. Just as a question to the Mayor, I just wondered if the Mayor could confirm whether he had consultation with the MP and through that the Home Office and David Lloyd about the new police station.
Thank you, Nigel, and thanks for your comments about Tim. I've discussed Watford Police Station many times, both with the Chief Inspector, the head of the Hertfordshire Constabulary, and also David Lloyd. It's been something that's been planned for a long time. Anyone who's visited the police station on Shady Lane knows that it's a very old building in need of either renovation or a new police headquarters. I met the Chief Inspector of Watford Police twice today, and the plan is still for the new site on George Street to open in November this year.
Is this your supplementary?
It is.
Yeah.
Are you happy? I was going to say thanks for that. Are you happy that the siting of the new one, in obviously George Street, is the ideal place when you think of there's been talk that it's going to be harder or take longer for police cars, vehicles and that to maybe get out compared to where it was? And are they going to have the most up-to-date facilities?
I am pleased with the new location. I think it's important, first of all, it's in the town centre. We've all had know about issues around church car parks, St Mary's Church, and that area, and having police coming and going throughout the day, I think will be a good thing. I know that they're in discussions with Watford Council officers about access and making sure that they can leave that site quickly, but I'd much rather have a police station in the centre of the town. There was talk at some stages of, quite far out of the town centre in other locations, I think it's actually important that we have the police at the heart of our town, able to reach all parts of Watford quickly. And I know that, again, we're in discussions with the police about where their vehicles will be, making sure that they can leave quickly when necessary. So I'm pleased that it's going to be based where it is. I think it's taken longer than they'd hoped for, but that's often the case with these processes. And of course, the council work really closely with the police on things like the CCTV unit, which we fund 24/7. And of course, all of that work with the police in order to tackle crime in the town.
Thank you very much, Councillor Dinser.
Thank you, Councillor Dinser. And I agree with you that it's something that we need to do, and getting it right is not always straightforward. So there is information about where they're going to be located. Councillor Stokesbury is the relevant portfolio holder, and of course, a number of officers led by Tom Debrashian and others who are working on this. If you've got particular concerns about a specific location where you think they're doing it on one side of the street and the other side makes sense, then please do feed into to Ian Stokesbury and officers, because we'll take that on board. The key thing actually is that we've got to make sure we've got enough of these charges. Most of the complaints I get from residents now about a lack of charges and the need for more charges. I know that parking is always difficult in West Watford, but at the same time, half of new vehicles, I think it's well over half now of new vehicles being purchased are electric vehicles. And so people that have got electric vehicles also need to find places to charge when if you haven't got a driveway, then we do need to have on-street parking. That's been quite difficult with the county council and other parts of the county. They've not been able to really install as many on-street parking points. I'm pleased that we've got these 79 new ones going in, thanks to funding that we secured from central government. But as I said, if he's got particular concerns about locations such as Durban Road, the first person I would speak to is Ian, and then work with officers as well if you've got suggestions about other locations.
How do we know where they're going?
So there is Ian can share, and we can make that available to all councillors. There is a list that has the locations of where they're going. So we can make that available. We can make that available to all councillors. I'm happy to share that information if it's not already been shared.
Thank you, everybody. That's the questions for the Mayor's report. Now moving to item number 6, questions by members of the council. Oh, sorry, SVD.
Thank you. In March, we moved a motion concerning the pandemic of vaping, vaping products being accessible to young children in the council. Just wondering if the Mayor has any update for us.
Could you repeat the question again, please?
Sorry, did not hear me, sorry. I was saying that in March, we moved a motion on vaping and its impact and how accessible it is for young children in Watford. And I wondered if the Mayor has any update for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Etzefeld. Sorry, I thought the questions had finished, so I missed the first part of your question. Very happy to provide an update. The Local Government Association this week put out a statement calling on government to end the sale of disposable vaping. And of course, Watford Council is part of the Local Government Association and very much support that call. On the specifics of the motion, I'm sure that portfolio holders would be very happy to provide an update on other aspects of the motion, because I know it was a cross-party motion that we all supported, and it is a growing problem. So I'm happy to provide a more detailed reply if Councillor Etzefeld would like that.
Sorry, may I know who the portfolio holder is? Thank you.
Thank you very much. My apologies, Councillor Etzefeld, for missing you there. I now do move on to item number 6, which is questions by members of the council. We received a question from Councillor Trebar The question and answer have been circulated by email as part of the supplementary agenda and published on the council's website. We received that? Perfect. Thank you so much. Move on to item 7, questions from the public. No questions have been received. Item number 8, petitions. No petitions have been received. Item number 9, urgent business. There is no urgent business. Move on to item number 10, financial monitoring report year end 2022 to 2023. A report of the head of finance has been circulated with the agenda. I'm inviting Councillor Watkin to move the recommendations. Councillor Watkin, you have up to 3 minutes.
Thank you very much.
As well. Apologies.
Am I allowed to, sorry, is that okay to start?
You can go for it.
Jolly good, thank you. I have much pleasure in presenting the financial monitoring report for FY 22-23. As it contains recommendations to changes in the capital budget, it must be agreed by the full council. The detailed report was scrutinised by the Finance Scrutiny Committee at their meeting on June the 27th. So while I will be very happy to answer any questions from members, the detailed analysis of both capital and the revenue performance was carried out thoroughly at that meeting, and there were no objections to the proposals I'm putting in front of you tonight. You will all be aware of the impact that COVID and the Ukrainian war have had on the construction industry, resulting in shortage of materials in the supply chain and price increases for materials, further driven up by energy inflation as the year progressed. Nonetheless, these cost increases have been subject to the tight scrutiny by our officers and our suppliers. This administration is committed to completing phase 2 of the inspired development on Watford Business Park, the reimagining of the town hall into a wonderful civic asset, and the transformation of the Coliseum into a superb performance venue. To achieve this, we will need council's approval to the rephasing of 10.562 million into the 23-24 capital budget, as well as agreeing to allocate 2.4 million of the residual CIL fund. Please support this proposal.
Thank you very much, Councillor Watkin. Can I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Mayor Taylor. You may speak, or do you reserve your right to speak? Do any members wish to speak about this item, please? Bell, I've got you. Khan, thank you. Anybody else? No, thank you. Councillor Bell, please.
Thank you, Chair. And yeah, quite right that this has come to full council, and I realise obviously things are difficult at the moment. And I know that obviously Councillor Khan as Chair obviously told us about the discussion that you had, and as Councillor Watkins said, there was much discussion, quite rightly, about the changes here, and some of them interesting. On the Coliseum, of course, the Coliseum in many ways, one of the jewels in the crown, which I obviously we've always supported. Obviously, this extra 2 million, that's fair enough, but I think what we should also keep pushing on is the fact that we do need to make sure when it is fully finished and we have great performances there again, and we've got, you know, that the acoustics are fantastic inside, or originally we hope they still are going to be, but we have make sure we still have that community use that we always push for, and that you know, the English heritage, not English heritage, but that they always push for proper community use from Watford residents and Watford communities, as well as obviously the other performances and groups from across around the country. So I hope that we can keep that in mind when we, you know, we obviously support, you know, this investment tonight, but remembering who we'd like to see there, and it's all of Watford, or Watford community should be included, as well as obviously international bands and everything else. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Councillor Bell. Councillor Khan, please.
Thank you, Chair. And yeah, so we are broadly in support of the change, and it was explained in the financial scrutiny meeting, which Councillor Watkin did attend, and you know, it was a good, thorough discussion. There's a couple of just points in terms of that emerged, and I think it's good practice. It's important to have good project management to ensure that budgets don't actually rephase, because if they are rephased, you're the dire need of increasing costs, increasing inflation, and so on. So it's one of the the things that we've got to make sure that projects are well managed and actually projects are scrutinised as well. So that's the job of us as politicians to make sure that they're scrutinised, and the job of officers to deliver great project management. So that's important to do that. And I mentioned the point there, the more expensive, the more delays that they are, the more expensive they are. So it's important that we do that. And also we talked about debt repayments and the cost of that. Nigel made a good point about the Colosseum, and it's important that it's open to all. And I think from a Labour group's perspective, we've had a briefing about the town hall per se, but not so much about the Colosseum. It's something which we would welcome specifically from the officers about the project, about the Colosseum itself, rather than the town hall, because actually it's a legacy of all of us. It's not just one group. It's not just the councils, it's the whole town, and it's a long history, and we will share that particular history as well. Thank you.
I've got one more. Councillor Dinser, please.
Yeah. Councillor Bell and Councillor Khan Councillor Khan and Councillor Bell has raised a very important point. And if I remember from my memory, these days were for voluntary groups and community groups free of charge, so they could do some fundraising for their groups. So that's ensure that those days are put aside in the calendar and communities are informed about it, that these days are available, so they can book them for their fundraising events. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Dinser. As a seconder, you'd like to reply?
Yeah, I'll reply to some of the points. I'm sure Councillor Watkin might want to add. I mean, just a few things on the Colosseum. I'm glad that Labour support it. I would point out we've got one of the largest operators, the operator for the O2. They operate dozens of really top venues right across the country. It's, a feather in Watford's in our cap, the fact that we've got they're wanting to operate the Watford Colosseum. There's a number of benefits. Not only is it going to be great acts, high caliber acts, but also more days that they'll be operating than the previous when we had HQ theatres operating. That will bring big financial benefits to the local economy and to the town, and those community days are part of the contract. So I know that Labour have raised that previously. It is part of the contract. We'll make sure that there are community days. They've never been free days, so when it was HQ theatres, it was the same. It was a discount, but there will be discounted days. I think the other thing about the Colosseum is that the project there is, a lot of it's about restoring the Art Deco heritage of the building. There's reconfiguration going in there. There's more use of the space. So it'll be much better space to use for the community and for those acts that perform there. So I'm really pleased that the project is being incredibly well managed by Liam Hornsby and other officers. It is on time to be reopening next year, despite the difficult economic climate that we face. So I think it's a really good thing that we're managing to make sure this project progresses, even though we've got difficult economic headwinds. And of course, we were unfortunately unsuccessful in our bid for the levelling up funding, perhaps because of our location, which of course would have helped with the finances of it. But given the fact that we were unsuccessful, I think it's important that we progress this project and making use of budgets in order to do that.
Thank you very much, Councillor Watkin. Could you round up, please? Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Chairman. First of all, can I just thank the Labour group, because actually what they've defined is exactly what we're out here to achieve. We want the civic quarter to become a vibrant area where not just people come here to sort of pay their council tax and occasionally go to the Colosseum, but to see this as part of their day-to-day life. They can come to the cafe that's going to be in the new town hall. There'll be more events going on in the Colosseum. It will be, the museum will be obviously located there. There will be people coming and going into that building in a way that we have never had all the years that this building has been in existence. So it'll be transformational. I mean, really, I think you've asked the questions and I've given you the answers. I'm delighted that you're supporting this. And yeah, the sooner we get it done, the better. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Some really great discussion about the Colosseum and the Town Hall quarters, which is really, really great to see, and the progress being made on that. I'm going to move now on to the vote around the financial monitoring report and the recommendations. So does the council agree the recommendations as printed on page 13 of the agenda pack? All those in favour, please show.
That's unanimous, Chair.
Okay, we'll take that as carried. Thank you very much. And also regarding the discussion there about the Coliseum and getting updates from the officers, I'm sure that can be arranged as necessary and would be very useful for all members. Item number 11 on the agenda is the Constitution update, the vehement rules. A report of the Head of Finance has been circulated with the agenda. I'm inviting Councillor Watkin to move the recommendation. Councillor Watkin, you have 7 minutes.
Thank you again, Chairman, and I won't need that. I have much pleasure in presenting one of the least engaging but most essential reports that I've had to present to this council. The update of the scheme on how officers can via or transfer funds between major account areas. That's what I'm going to present to you. You will be aware that after the original budget was agreed, this council carried out a major reorganisation of its senior officers, with areas of responsibility divided differently from the original budget allocations. This has resulted in our financial management systems no longer aligning with the new structure, clearly unmanageable. So we need your approval to this scheme to be able to make the necessary adjustments. This reorganisation of the accounts will have no effect on the overall budget of this council, just the way it is recorded and accounted for. So may I have the council's approval for this scheme?
Thank you very much, Councillor Watkin. Can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Dighton, thank you. To reserve your right to speak. Excellent, thank you. Do any members wish to speak on this item, please? Councillor Bell, anybody else? No, Councillor Bell, the floor's yours.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, it's important that we do have flexibility on this, and obviously anything of 100,000 or more quite rightly comes back to council, as we've seen tonight with the investment in the Coliseum and other things. And so obviously a lot of this makes sense, but clearly if there need to be any other changes, I'm sure you'll come back to us. But yeah, overall we do support this. It makes sense. It's practical.
Thank you very much. Councillor Dighton, would you like to respond as a seconder?
I reserve my right to speak. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Watkin, can you round up, please?
I don't think there's anything to add, Chairman. I'll let the meeting carry on. I think we've covered it.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much. Microphone off. Thank you. So item number 11 on the agenda, Constitution update vehement rules as explained by Councillor Watkin. Does the council agree the recommendation as printed on page 34 of the agenda pack, and that is to approve the updated budget and policy procedure rules at appendix number 1. All those in favour, please show. I'm happy that's carried. Thank you very much. Item number 12, Scrutiny Annual Report 2021 to 2022. A report of the Senior Democratic Services Officers has been circulated with the agenda to this council. I'm inviting Councillor Osborne to move the recommendation. Councillor Osborne, you have up to 7 minutes.
Thank you, Chair. I won't need them. Just move that the report be noted and to place on record thanks to officers and members of task groups and executive members for giving up their time, which I think is pretty much everybody in the room. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Osborne. I will second the report and reserve my right to speak. Do any members wish to speak on the report? Councillor Bell.
Thank you, Chair. Just looking at some of the task group recommendations and obviously housing, the voluntary sector strategy. I can see that obviously we had the report from the Watford and Three Rivers Trust and representatives from them attended and provided an update. There were discussions around continuing to improve engagement with diverse communities, ensuring due diligence in funding applications and the priority of engaging with younger people. Can the portfolio holder let us know where she is at that, about the engagement with diverse communities and with younger people? Where, you know, how are you getting on with that? Are you having regular meetings with the different group leaders, or, you know, others, and especially, and also young people? How many young people's groups are you meeting in the town? Thank you.
Councillor Dighton, if you'd like to respond, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you very much, Councillor Nigel. I'm pleased to say that on the recent cabinet meetings, we just introduced the strategy of partnership of communications. Sadly, I do understand that you couldn't be in with us and perhaps you missed that opportunity to ask any questions, but I will be more than happy to provide you the feedback, what we discussed and what is the plans going forward with the strategy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Dinser, please.
Sorry, again, it's a follow-up onto that. In the past, we used to arrange meetings with the local communities in Watford, like the ethnic minority communities and the voluntary sector. There used to be across the board from the parties that councillors used to sit on there, and the voluntary sector and the ethnic minority communities would come and engage with us. Is there plans to do that kind of work?
As this is only noting the report from Scrutiny Committee and it's not a question and answer with the portfolio holder, she's unable to respond for this, but I'm pretty sure Councillor Dyson would be happy to respond via email for these matters. Do any other members wish to speak on the Scrutiny report? Excellent. I'm going to invite Councillor Osborne to sum up.
Nothing to add, Chair.
Thank you very much. Does the council agree the recommendation that the council notes the Scrutiny annual report for 2022-2023? All those in favour, please show. Thank you very much. Item number 12, Scrutiny annual report 2021-2022 carried. Item number 13, Neighbourhood Locality Fund annual report. A report of the Democratic Services Officers has been circulated with the agenda. I invite Councillor Watkin again to move the recommendation. You have 7 minutes.
Oh, my goodness. I won't need 7 minutes. Thank you, Chairman. And it's good fitness activity for me. In many ways, this is my favourite report of the year. It's the one that reflects the different levels and ways that ward teams engage with their local residents and their community in the wider sense. I'm delighted to report that in FY 22-23, 6 ward teams spent almost or up to their full allocation of £3,000, and Oxley achieved a remarkable 4,063. That was done by agreeing using an agreed carryover from the previous year. 2 wards, Legates and Meriden, spent substantially less than their allowance, although Meriden trumped everybody with the most projects. A quick snapshot of how wards spent their funds shows that 47% of the money spent went on improving the environment and community clean-up days. I think that's really indicative of our concern for our environment and our neighbourhoods. Supporting our local culture and heritage accounted for 19%, but interestingly, no money was donated to sports groups and highway improvements, and only 11% went to community groups and residents' associations. Before I close, just 2 things. In answer to Councillor Dinser, I mean, the money can be used to organise ward meetings if you feel appropriate. And NASCOT used to do that quite regularly, but we realised that we were only addressing a very small element of our community. It was the same people meeting after meeting, and it was incredibly expensive and really not an effective way of getting our message out to the community with what's now the modern way of communicating. So I think it's wise, and most people consider long and hard before you go down that route. And before I close, I wanted to thank officers for all the hard work they've done. The system is still very officer-driven, and the work that they go in to make sure that we carry through our reports and make sure all our paperwork is in order is so much appreciated. So thank you, team. So my request to all ward teams is that this year, spread the word that you've got this money to spend. Spread your net wider in 23-24 than you did last year, and let's see if all ward teams can allocate their full £3,000. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Councillor Watkin. Can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Dyson, thank you. Reserving the right to speak. Thank you very much. Would any members wish to speak on this report? You have 5 minutes. Councillor Bell, anybody else, please? Councillor Bell.
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Watkins said that nobody had, put forward anything on highways. I suppose people just think that's up to the county councillors or highways to spend it themselves, and fair enough. But can we know why Oxley was allowed to carry it over? What was the, is it some great secret or what?
Yeah, Councillor Clark-Taylor, you can have 5 minutes.
Thank you. Just to explain, so we had arranged a couple of projects where contractors both said sort of at the last minute they didn't have the availability to be able to come and help. One was a skip day, community skip day, and they were overbooked and told us at the very last minute that they couldn't attend. And the other was the implementing of some railings at Oxley Green to prevent some antisocial parking. And again, there was an issue with the contractor being able to come. So we'd gone through the process, put all the forms in, and they were just circumstances outside of our control. And because of the rules on when the money could be spent, we just weren't able to get it done in time. But they were both projects for the community, which then went ahead.
Thank you very much. Would any other members like to speak on this report? No, I invite the seconder to respond. Would you like to respond?
I reserve my rights to speak. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Watkin. I think is this your final roundup for the night?
Oh, I'm getting into the mood of this, but no, actually, I'm going to stop now. Thank you, Chairman. I've nothing more to add to what I said.
Thank you very much. So we're looking at item number 13, Neighbourhood Locality Fund Annual Report. Does the council agree the recommendation that the Neighbourhood Locality Fund Annual Report be noted? All those in favour, please. Thank you. I take that item as carried, and thank you everybody for all your works that you're doing to put this money into the communities, and once again noting what Councillor Watkins said about the thanks for the officers for the work they do supporting members to use these funds. So we're now moving on to motions. 4 motions have been received. Since the publication of the agenda, a revised motion has been agreed by the proposer for motion 2. Okay, that's not happened. However, we can provide you a revised motion has been agreed between the proposer in place of the original motions numbered 3 and 4, which were around transport. We'll go through them in order of the receipt by Democratic Services Manager. I remind all councillors that the mover of the motion has up to 7 minutes with a right of reply up to 3 minutes. Everyone else speaking has up to 5 minutes. So item 14, the motion, more resources to combat crime and antisocial behaviour. The first motion has been proposed by Councillor Bell and seconded by Councillor Trebar. Is that still correct? Details are contained in the agenda. I now invite Councillor Bell to move the motion. 7 minutes.
Thank you, Chair. I don't know if it'll take 7 minutes, but as I say, I'll read that through because it's only short. This council resolves that the Mayor writes to the Home Secretary and Hertfordshire's Police and Crime Commissioner, David Lloyd, I'm sure you know who he is, to urgently call for more resources to combat the increasing crime and antisocial behaviour which we and our residents have seen not only in the town centre in recent months, but across Watford. I propose this motion because in talking to residents, not only in my area, of course, of West Watford, but across the town, there's great concern from residents about crime and antisocial behaviour. Our MP on the 7th of July, in his article in the Watford Observer here, of course, said, and I quote, "It's encouraging that there has been a significant decrease in domestic burglaries of late." And he says, "I would like to thank the local police for their work. Vehicle theft and theft from vehicles has been increasing, however, and measures are in place to address this. Residents have raised concerns about knife crime and antisocial behaviour, and I am working with the police to look at initiatives to assist with reducing the instances," end quote. Well, I'm sure all of us here would thank the police, the local police, for their work, but it just won't do for our MP to talk about measures in place and initiatives. Not a day seems to go by without a report online in the Observer about a crime and or antisocial behaviour in our streets. And in fact, you only got to look at the paper there. And also, I mean, what is it today? I hope I've got it on here. Yeah, the 17th of July, yesterday. 18-year-old bailed amid Class A drugs in Watford charges. And then, of course, that's to do with the Casby Park drugs and lock knife images. There's been, and say I'm talking about everywhere, not just West Watford. Obviously, I represent West Watford as a borough and the county councillor. And you'll have seen the recent reports about the not just cars being stolen in various roads, but also thefts from cars, vandalism in Harwoods Road, in the outback of vehicles broken into for money and other valuables, leaving a trail of glass and debris in Chester Road, Harwoods Road. The criminals were caught on camera in Caractacus Green, trying out vehicles to gain entry, caught on ring bell cameras, and also the same in Talbot's Lane, one of the major roads in and out of Watford. Vehicles were stolen from Princess Avenue and Rembrandt Way. The daily occurrence of drug dealing, with many residents reporting as encouraged to do so on 101, and they have done not just in my own, again, road, but other roads in West Watford. And I have no criticism of the police. The local PCSOs and the police officers are doing their best, but they are still short despite what Dean, our MP, Dean Russell says, they are still short of resources. If you add to this the issue of attacks in Cassiobury Park, as we had highlighted here by Shirazi in her brave speech about her petition early in the year, and the investigation by the Watford Observer revealing that 28 crimes had been reported to have taken place between January and September 2022, according to statistics on police.uk. As I've stated, I make no criticism of the police who are doing their best in very difficult circumstances, but Watford residents have the right to feel safe as they go about their business, and clearly many of our families do not feel safe from what I'm getting, and I'm sure many of us are getting. So Dean Russell may have got a new police station in George Street instead of Shady Lane, but Watford residents need proper action and the resources to their local police and PCSO officers to feel safer and reassured. Dean Russell had his photo op with the Home Secretary and the Police Commissioner, David Lloyd, the Crime Commissioner, about the new police station. But where are those extra officers and funding and equipment to help police being seen on the beat, as we used to say, and community policing, as we also used to say, in action, to properly defer the criminals around us? And I'll refer back again, May the 5th, just up the day after the local elections this year, the Watford Observer quite rightly says the recent news of a teenager suffering stab wounds during a daylight attack will increase concerns about the safety of people using popular Cassiobury Park. And then, of course, they added, as I said before, about 2 months ago, there was Shirazi's petition. And again, calling for more CCTV. That's questions for the police and obviously the council here to answer. And then that's when they talked about the research they'd done about the crimes last year. And they said it's important the authorities do all they can to make people feel safe and deter criminals from seeing this park as an easy location to harm people or cause antisocial behaviour. And that's something that we should, all of us should remember. And as I say, not a day goes by without you look online on the Observer and there's another attack or there's a stabbing, one, and unfortunately stabbing today. We need to have more communication. I know that obviously the mayor's talking to the police as it's quite rightly as he should do, but we just need to see more done. I know it's not just about money, but we need more resources. We need to write to the Home Secretary, you know, whatever you think about it. We need to write to her, write to the government, write to David Lloyd. David Lloyd is making a big issue of, you know, he's got more police. We had the PR yesterday, I noticed, about saying more trained detectives, but people still don't see that on the street. And there are many, many residents, as I say, I can only know mainly by West Watford, but across the town are really frustrated. They do the reporting as they've been told to do, whether it's on the 101 or the Echo system, and to get them on the online, sometimes the police don't come back to them. I mean, you know, they've got a reference. Some they do, and we've had some success, and we've had good liaison with the police in our area and antisocial behaviour in our area. But it's just not good enough, and it's not up to them to ask for it. Of course, politically they can't, but it's up to us to ask for it, and that's what we're doing. So I just hope the council here can support us on this.
Thank you very much, Councillor Bell, for bringing this motion to the council. I now invite Councillor Trebar to second, please. 5 minutes.
I second it and I reserve my right to speak.
Thank you very much, Councillor Trebar. Do any members wish to move any amendments to this motion? If so, can you indicate now by raising your hand? Brilliant. So now we're moving to, would any members like to speak on this motion? Please raise your hand. So Dighton, Taylor, Tamain, Stokesbury. We've got any other hands I'm missing? No. Councillor Dighton, have 5 minutes, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Dear council members, we all want Watford to be the safest possible environment for our residents, and I'm pleased to say it is. Our prime objective is to ensure that well-being of every single individual living in, working in, and visiting our community feels safe. However, it's crucial to remember that work done historically by the mayor, community portfolio holders, community safety team, police, and involvement in partnership with Police Crime Commissioner have already shown positive results. A robust, multifaceted plan that is currently in progress, addressing crime prevention and the roots of antisocial behaviour. Part of this effort includes tackling antisocial behaviour directly. We have significantly invested in preventing measures and community safety and cohesion programme that educate our youth, support vulnerable population, and provide assistance for those struggling with mental health issues. These measures are designed to target the root cause of antisocial behaviour, curbing it before it escalated into crime. By strengthening our connection and visibility by working with Chief Inspector Andy Wiseman, we contribute to a safer, healthier Watford for everyone. We continue to monitor and assess the impact of current initiatives and adjust as needed to ensure they produce the desired results. It's only one example of many of our investment, for example, like mobile cameras, violence against women and girls, and most importantly, what happened last week, Safer Street Project. As we continue to see the positive impact of our actions, I'm confident that we maximize the efficiency of our resources and effectiveness. The issue of combining crime and antisocial behaviour is indeed a shared concern, but crime is down at 3.3%. Robbery is down by 27 since 1st of April. Steady decline in dwelling burglary. Watford knife crime involving under 18s is lowest for a number of years. Antisocial behaviour overall is up, but it's only because of the action what we took and the officers what we have, encouraging residents to keep reporting when they feel unsafe or vulnerable, calling to 111, so we can tackle and prioritize the response from community officers. Visible police meets the public's wishes, and white crime rates this year in Watford are down. Coming one to back of historical law, it's the previous years, the perception of crime is up. The Community Safety Partnership are aware this is something we need to address and eager to tackle this perception. We will continue delivering against our Community Safety Partnership priorities, delivering community engagement events and promoting the positive in the town. And just as an example before we finish, may I take my phone, because it's just a positive comment about the work, what community safety doing in our town from today. A resident who emailed to me saying, as soon as she contacted 111, the community officer was with that individual who was vulnerable in 5 minutes. I think it doesn't need a comment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Dighton. Mayor Taylor, would you like to speak, please?
Thank you very much, Simon. I don't want to repeat the points that Councillor Dighton made as a portfolio holder for this area. All I'd say is that if we look at the statistics on the numbers of crimes that are recorded in Watford, this year they're lower than last year, it's lower than 2019, lower than 2018, lower than 2017. So the actual crimes that have been recorded are down. But I don't think we should for a moment be ever complacent. We need to work really hard with the local community and with the police to tackle all issues, because one crime is one crime too many. And we know as councillors and as members, we speak to victims of crime and the impact that has on themselves and their families. When I spoke to the Chief Inspector of Watford Police today, one of the things that he highlighted was the detection rate in Watford this year is higher than it's been for a number of years. So it's 6% higher than it was last year. And I would pay tribute to the local police who are working very hard in very difficult circumstances, as Councillor Bell highlighted. And the fact that that detection rate has gone up is a sign of progress. When it comes to raising this, I'm of course very happy to raise it with the Home Secretary and with the Police and Crime Commissioner. One of the frustrations I've had is that when I have raised it with the Police and Crime Commissioner, he says it's an operational matter. I don't think it's an operational matter about how you use your resources. He's responsible for policing across Hertfordshire, and it's a strategic decision about whether or not you use those in places like Watford, that's got obviously a very busy town centre. It's got one of the only 2 A&Es in the county where there are definite issues that need to be responded to. And I think it's a strategic decision. And so you can't just pass the buck and say, it's an operation decision, it's not my decision, it is his decision. And every time I meet him, the first issue I raise is the need for more police in Watford. He does talk about the fact that officer numbers have gone up. I would question whether or not they've gone up enough in Watford, or whether or not he's met his own targets. So I pay tribute to the police. I also pay tribute to the team that we have here at Watford Council, people like Liam Fitzgerald and Zoe Brunt, who do brilliant work. I know that many of us work closely with them on particular issues. I'm happy to support this motion, and I'm happy very much to raise this with the Minister and with the Police and Crime Commissioner. But I do think it's important that we're accurate about the levels of crime. Yes, there are issues that we need to target, but we'd be wrong if we suggest that Watford is a high crime area. If you look at the figures, Hertfordshire is a low crime area compared to the rest of the country overall, and the crime rate in Watford is significantly below the national average. But as I say, we can't be complacent, and I support the motion's call for more police officers in Watford.
Thank you very much, Mayor Taylor. Councillor Tremaine, please.
Thank you, Chair. I'll be very brief because a lot of the points have already been made by other people. I'm speaking in support of the motion. The Mayor speaks about the importance of not being complacent. I absolutely concur with that, and about the need for more police officers. Goodness knows that we need more police officers given what's happened over the last decade. But the fact of the matter is, these events and situations do get raised by residents with us. I this evening have come to this meeting from a conversation with a family whose children have been subject to violence with knives, recently. I obviously won't talk about that in any more detail. The Herts Mercury, less than a month ago, reported that in central Watford, there is more antisocial behaviour than anywhere else in Hertfordshire. I mean, the numbers may well be coming down, and that is commendable. And absolutely, the police do fantastic work, and absolutely, our team here does fantastic work as well. But it is a problem, and it is a problem that needs to be dealt with. It's not good enough for the MP for Watford to be saying what he's saying, and for the Police Crime Commissioner to be saying what he's saying either. Police numbers have been cut, and they've had years of underfunding. So of course they can't respond to everything that is going on. Our party has proposed thousands more police to be put on the streets, but we can't wait for a general election for that to be taking place. The government is responsible, and they should be making more efforts to fix it. So I support this motion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Tremaine. Councillor Stotesbury, please.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Well, lots of really great comments made already. I just wanted to add, we know there's an issue actually in terms of recruitment of police officers and how quickly they can actually fill spaces and provide spaces for training programs for new police officers. I know some recently graduated police officers myself, and they were waiting a very long time to get a placement. So there's an issue there. I just wanted to use a quick moment to reiterate and just say, the council is going above and beyond to try and make things better in the town. And I would really encourage all councillors, I know many of us do, to work with Aga, to work with Liam, to work with the mayor on specific issues in their local area, and to work with the local team. The police clearly need more resourcing, but what we're doing in the council goes above and beyond what I'd say a typical district council is known to do in terms of helping prioritise, helping operationally with the police responses. I myself was at a meeting only a few weeks ago, helping with one of those strategic planning operations. So the last thing is, let's just be cautious about this motion and how we talk about this. We need to make sure people have confidence in the police and they have confidence in reporting a crime. There's a real risk that we disasterise how much crime there might be in the town, and then people lose confidence to report crime. That's the fundamental thing we need to ask our residents to do, so we can build the case for more police officers for our town, but also respond operationally. So please, everyone, talk about this responsibly, and please encourage residents to rely on police to report crime so we can follow up and respond appropriately. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Stotesbury. Councillor Grimston, please.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to sort of bring a bit of a point to order. The stabbing that happened today was in Abbots Langley, which isn't Watford. I think, as Aga has clearly pointed out, perceivement of crime is far higher than actual crime that is actually happening. I think we have, as councillors, a duty of care to stop the scaremongering. We're all aware of the complete lack of funding, and it has to come from the top, and it comes from the government. The police have been underfunded, underinvested in for the last 15 years that I can remember. But we really must need to take our own responsibility and to not misreport crimes that actually aren't happening in Watford. And we do have a duty of care to do so. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Grimson. Would anybody else like to speak on this motion, please? Councillor Trevor, thank you.
Yeah, I actually can't believe what I'm hearing, because either me, my friends, my family, my residents, the people I speak to in Watford don't feel safe in Watford, or there's some line being spun here that I'm not aware of. Because I can tell you outright that I don't feel safe in Watford. I can tell you outright that my children don't feel safe in walking in Watford. I walk every day from Bushy right the way through central Watford to West Watford. And we've all seen it's been beautiful sunshine recently. And unfortunately, there has been visual antisocial behaviour happening in St Mary's Park, on the streets, everywhere around you can see it. So please, you have to open your eyes here, because it is happening all around us, and ignoring it is not going to make it go away. Now, absolutely, you don't see the police, you don't see the PCOS walking around, not because they're not doing their job. Oh my God, they are doing their job and really well, but there just aren't enough of them. We need more visible police on the streets. We need more PCOSs on the streets. That's how you stop it. Asking people to report a crime is not easy. It really isn't. For a lot of people, they feel intimidated already. So asking them and saying that the excuse here is you've got to report it. I'm sorry, you're passing the buck. You're victim blaming here. No, I'm sorry. We need more PCOSs. We need more police. The police are doing a fantastic job, but we just need more of them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Trevor. One more person, Councillor Anne Williamson.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to say something, some correction here. I have got some lovely PCSO that walks the street and walks the street with me too. So I just want to correct a statement that they don't see any PCSO walking the street, because I know I've got two lovely PCO in North Watford that walk the street with me. And I'm grateful to these PCSO because they work very hard. If I call a police, I tell you one incident a couple of weeks, there was some youth breaking in the Calalan Park hut, and I called police and I called my resident that lived next door, and they were there in second. I can agree there are crime. The police is underfunded, as my colleague says, but we are very grateful for these guys because they are under pressure. But please, don't misinterpret. I have got lovely PCSO in North Watford that walks the street.
That's not what she said. They're not enough.
I'm going to have quickly Councillor Dinser, and then we will be moving to the vote on this.
She said they're not enough.
Okay, we're now going to move on to, oh, sorry, Nigel. My apologies there. Would you like your right to reply? Yes, everyone's finished. 3 minutes for yourself, sir.
Yeah, I think as very good debate. I think I made clear in all what I said, we fully support our local police. It's the fact that they're under such pressure in our PCSOs, and they are doing such good work. And so I don't quite know people saying get your facts right. I mean, we did get our facts right. That's the whole point. We are just concerned that every time we look at this, there's more crimes reported, and they're crimes. Councillor Grimston talked about the stabbing today. It said it was in Abbots Langley. Well, that's in the Watford constituency. I mean, we're talking about, I'm not saying that the mayor has responsibility for Abbots Langley, but it's in, with the main criticism today is about Dean Russell, the MP. His constituency at the moment, till the changes, is Abbots Langley. So it's still, that's not correct. That's totally correct, as I'm sure you, as Lenny would point out to you. But all the other stuff that we've mentioned here is it's all fact. It's been reported in Observer and it's fact. And a lot of people, so when Aga, with great respect, says people feel safe, well, I'm saying everyone is safe in Watford. I'm sure a lot of people don't feel safe in Watford. In West Watford, where Aga lives, those streets, you must have seen the drug dealers down Princess Avenue. You haven't? Well, I mean, and we've got a doorstep out there, and they're all over the place, unfortunately. No, but I mean, they're all over the place. Princess Avenue, Queen's Avenue, Chester Road, as well as all the vehicle crime. And, we tell our residents to report, and they are, and they just, some things are being done, and it's good. And I know some PCSs have been in a long time in police and are very good. And I'm not arguing with that. But there's two different perceptions here. And a lot of the residents don't feel safe at the moment, and they need to feel safe. You could tell me that the crime figures are down, fine, if that's good, although obviously Dean says the vehicle crime is up and the and other crimes are up. He says burglary is down, that's fine, okay. But we need to get that across to people. People who want to feel reassured, they want to feel that there's going to be more police, and that's the reassurance they want. That people should be able to go out in Casby Park, in the high street, wherever they go or their kids go, and feel safe. And a lot of people don't feel safe, and that's all we're trying to put across. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Bell, for bringing this motion to council. I'm now going to read through the motion. This council resolves that the Mayor writes to the Home Secretary and Hertfordshire's Police and Crime Commissioner to urgently call for more resources to combat the increasing crime and antisocial behaviour which we and our residents have seen not only in the town centre in recent months but across Watford. All those in favour, please show. Thank you very much. That motion has been carried. Item number 15, motion a diverse council. This motion may get a little bit complicated, so I do apologise if we start going off track, but luckily we have Carol Chen here who will guide us back on that track. The second motion has been proposed by Councillor Tremaine and seconded by Councillor Khan. This motion has been amended. The amendment hasn't been agreed though, and a copy has been circulated. And now I'll invite Councillor Tremaine to move the motion. You have 7 minutes, please.
Question, do I move the standard motion first and we then amend, or we amend first? Okay, fine. Thank you very much. Sorry for the confusion. I moved to Watford over 10 years ago, having grown up nearby and been a frequent visitor to the town over the years of my childhood. But university took me elsewhere, and in my early career, I worked and lived in London. One of the great things about London is its diversity, and one of the things that delighted me most when moving my home here was the diverse community in which we live. Politics is in a state of near constant crisis. We have lurched from the unusual circumstances of a coalition government to the referendum on independence, the referendum on the EU by way of electoral reform, and have now spent many, many years of Tory crisis. We see worrying trends in people's trust in politics and in politicians. Even last week, Sunday Times magazine ran a cover story of who would be an MP. I've got an idea. Anyway, so one way that we can in council help this is by committing to a diverse council. Now, Watford has done much to step in that right direction. We absolutely acknowledge that over the years. But as with modern day slavery, with violence against women and girls and other issues, making a declaration of the importance of diversity as a way to encourage participation in democracy and help ensure better representative government is a powerful stake in the ground. So please support this motion. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councillor Tremaine. I now invite Councillor Khan to second the motion.
Second the motion and reserve our right to speak. So sure.
Excellent. Okay, so now gets to the complicated bit. Do any members wish to move an amendment to this motion? If so, can they indicate by raising their hand? Councillor Dighton, thank you very much. Yeah, perfect. And can I have a seconder for the amendment, please? Okay. Carol Chen's now going to explain the colour coding.
Right. So the proposed amendment has been circulated around the table. So the blue is the proposed amended words, and those in red in italics are the words that have been deleted from the original motion. So you've got the complete motion here. The blue is the added words by the amenders, and the red is the words they have taken out of the original motion. So I hope that helps you when you're considering this whole motion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, yeah.
You've not got a colour version, have you not?
There are colour versions on your table?
Yes, there are.
Excellent.
Black writing as well.
Oh, that was just already, that should be blue.
That's really
Okay.
So, yeah, just to reiterate, the black's the original motion, the red is the amendment removal, and the blue is the amendment additions. Councillor Dighton, like to speak on the amendment, please.
Thank you, Chair, again tonight. Dear Chairman, Mayor, councillors and the residents who are joining us online. I'm speaking to you today to emphasise the crucial importance of addressing diversity with the Watford Borough Council. Watford Council is committed to promoting equality, diversity and inclusion to ensure that our decisions are informed and beneficial for all members of our society. This council celebrates the diversity of our community across Watford Borough and affirms it believes that equality, diversity and inclusion play a crucial role in all societies and should be factored in all local decision making. As elected representatives, we understand that democracy and collective governance rely heavily on a decision to equality, diversity and inclusion. It is imperative that we represent the diversity communities we serve and ensure that all protected characteristics are given equal consideration with our council. The Local Government Association have made significant strides towards promoting diversity in local government through the Diversity Council Declaration, and we fully support these initiatives. As a council, we are committed to following the 9 objectives outlined in the declaration, which include creating an open and welcoming culture, developing a local action plan, providing support for our members, adapting to changing circumstances, ensuring fair compensation, and providing equal opportunities for underrepresented groups. Our commitment to those objectives is integral to fostering a diverse, skilled, and representative leadership for the Council. The benefits of diversity representation and decision-making are clear: to lead to insightfully, emphatic and effective leadership. Therefore, we must work together as a community to create a council that reflects the vibrant diversity of Watford Borough. Our elected mayor, both Dorothy and Peter now, have done so much to champion everyone in Watford. We have seen new community groups flourish in our town and some great people join us to support the town and residents. We have all seen our councillors change, and looking around the room tonight, so please take a minute and have a look, we have already come a long way, but there is always more to be done. Indeed, I'm a great example of the great Watford welcome. I choose Watford, and Watford has repaid me by giving me not only opportunity to a wonderful place to live, but also to serve my community and local people throughout my role as a councillor, portfolio holder, and a deputy mayor. I urge all of our residents who are interested in joining the political pathway and being a part of our diversity and inclusive council to contact my fellow councillor across the chamber, but also to myself if they wish to learn more or understand about Watford community and opportunities that they could create. I truly believe that together we can create a council that truly represents our community and is committed to effective governance. And I hope that the Labour group will accept our amendments and support this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Dighton. Councillor Patterson, would you like to speak as the seconder on the motion, the amendment?
Yes, I will. Thank you, Chair. So I'd like to second the amendment that Councillor Dighton's put forward to the proposed motion on behalf of the Liberal Democrat group. The reason we're putting an amendment forward is we just couldn't accept a copy-pasted motion that simply didn't reflect the reality of living in Watford today or accurately depict the excellent work that the council, led by Councillor Dighton, has put in to ensure the council is welcoming and inclusive for all. This time last year, I stood here to ask for the council's support for a policy to ensure being an elected councillor is accessible to as many residents as possible by ensuring appropriate and supportive policies for leave, sickness and other forms of support for councillors if and when needed during their tenure. This was fully supported by all in attendance and was a big step towards ensuring that we make the council as accessible for all. I'm also proud of how much progress we've made in supporting a diverse council. So according to the last census data for Watford Borough Council, just under 40% of our residents are recorded as belonging to ethnic minority groups. 32% of councillors representing our town reflect these groups. While there is still some work to do on this, the Liberal Democrat group is also proud to have 3 further councillor candidates this year for election who are also part of ethnic minority groups. And we've just elected Councillor Alan Williamson to the role of Vice Chair, who will proudly represent our town in the next civic year as Chair. We're still underrepresented by women, with over 2/3 of Watford councillors being male, which does not represent the 51% and 49% split in our council area, and something we must commit to work on. The start of this was to offer maternity leave and parental leave as part of the leave policy. As a Liberal Democrat group, we do have a number of female councillors in senior leadership roles. We also do so much to support older people living in our communities. 30% of the population in Watford is over the age of 50, so it remains important to have more experienced, not old, councillors representing that community. And it was great to welcome Councillor Saunders to the group this year, as we have 22% of the population between the ages of 18 and 30. Again, supporting younger politicians to stand is a focus of the Liberal Democrat group and will help with widening representation. There is always so much more to do, which is why I'm seconding the amendment to this motion and could not accept the motion as proposed by our Labour colleagues, which does not reflect the work carried out in the town and within the Liberal Democrat group. And we will continue to do all we can to encourage and support improved representation to council in our town. And I hope you'll support the amendment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Pattinson. Would anybody like to speak on the motion and the amendment? Please raise your hand now. Councillor Watling. Anybody else?
We can put our hands up depending on what's said.
Yeah.
So it will be, each member only has 5 minutes to speak. So I'll take the names down in order as they come up. And then if you have spoken originally, you won't be able to speak for a second time. So I've got Watling, Clark, Taylor. Who else has a hand up, please? Watkin. I've got you. So yeah, Councillor Watling, you'd like to begin, please? You have 5 minutes.
Hi, well, just want to speak in support of the motion. News to hear, only to say that I'm no longer the youngest councillor here, so finally feel like a grown-up at last. Obviously, I myself obviously cover quite a bit of this motion. I have an invisible lifelong disability and diabetes. As many will remember from the last time I spoke at council, I am diagnosed as, or recognised as partially sighted, and also I am, as far as I'm aware, the only Jewish councillor in Watford Borough. So I will be supporting this motion.
Thank you very much, Councillor Watling. Councillor Clark Taylor, please.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I just really wanted to draw on the points made by Councillor Patterson and Dighton, particularly about the policy that was introduced last year. I think the first motion I ever spoke on as a councillor was to do with introducing the leave policy, which covered long-term illness, but also things like maternity and paternity care. I just wanted to really take this opportunity to publicly thank all of my colleagues in the Liberal Democrat group who have supported me to be a mother to young children and also a councillor. My son was 5 months old when I was elected, which was a significant challenge in and of itself. We took care of Councillor Stiff when she was unwell through pregnancy. And as you've mentioned, it's amazing to see Charlotte amongst our ranks now. The last year for me personally has been a significant challenge, with my daughter being diagnosed with autism, ADHD, and being excluded from school for that reason, having to find a new school for her at the age of 5. I at times felt like I was going to break under the pressure of all of that stuff, regardless of whether I was a councillor. And I just really wanted to say a huge thank you to everybody who has supported me in that. Mayor Taylor, Amanda for subbing on committees, Councillor Rodriguez, Imran, who's not here, who really picked up a lot of the slack when I was really, really struggling with casework and managing everything that's going on. And I just really want to say, and everyone else, I'm sorry who I've not mentioned, who had offered to help with childcare and things so that I could come to you committees and all of those kinds of things. You've all been absolutely brilliant. And I just want to place on record my absolute appreciation for your support for having mothers to young children on council.
Thank you very much, Councillor Clark-Taylor. Councillor Watkin, please.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I've been living in this town longer than other people. You've been alive, actually, 50 odd years. I didn't grow up here. And boy, has it changed in its nature, its constitution, the wonderful wealth of communities. Some of us were at Lawrence Haynes School last week to celebrate its 50th anniversary. And I asked the head how many different languages were spoken there. I was expecting to hear 60. He said, no, actually, we've only got 42 languages spoken in Lawrence Haynes at the moment. And I think Watford is the richer for this wide, diverse community that we have. And I'm delighted when I look around the room to see people from so many different backgrounds, definitely ethnic groups. No, we're not perfect. No, we could have more people of different groups. But of course, we're only a finite number of councillors. I have to say some sadness, actually, when I read the original Labour motion. I didn't think it reflected the truth of this council, the truth that's been represented in policies that we put before this council. And in fact, you just have to look around to see that this is an employer that tries as hard as it can to invite the community to come and work here and to share and celebrate their lives in this council. So please take the amendment. It improves it considerably. It reflects the reality of what we're about. And in reality, we're all agreed here. Watford is a wonderful community of diverse backgrounds, diverse types, and we should all be celebrating it. I'm not really arguing the toss about how we can do it better. We can do it better. Let's agree to work together. Thank you.
Thank you. I see Councillor Anne Williamson. Is there anyone else? Councillor Martins, and I will close out the debate. Councillor Singh, and that will be Dinter. Sorry. Okay, Councillor Anne Williamson, please.
Guys, I just hope you will support the amendment on the motion, because you can tell that there is a lot of improvement. And I don't know if you're all taking notice, but I am. Sometimes we do have chip on our shoulders, but we ought to take notice. When I came to this council, I was the only black in the Lib Dem. And look around the room. You have Marilyn over there, you have Lenny over here. So there's a lot of improvement. So we must give credit to the mayor, because under his management, there is so much changes. And I've never seen this before, but I have a lot of respect for Donna, because I was in an Arsenal attack in 2016. And this might sound really bad, but there was a black managing director, and I have an issue. And I went to him and I had to escalate it, and it did not get solved. The same incident occurred while I'm a councillor, and Donna solved the problem without it had to escalate. So we want to be very careful here when we talk about council and diversity. It's not just looking on color. You must look on what work being done as well. Because I can tell you, it stinks outside that the council is racist. And I can tell you, it's not true. Because I, as a black Jamaican councillor, has been taking notice. So we need to be very careful and paying attention here of what's been going on. I have never gone to Donna before and said, I've got a lot of respect for you, because the same incident that I had to escalate under a black director, I didn't have to escalate it under a white director. So we really want to be careful about color here. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Anne Williamson. Councillor Martins, I believe. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. I just want to say just a couple of things. I was concerned at murmurs that Labour might reject this amendment. That really would be a crying shame. I want to pay tribute to Labour for actually proposing the motion, because it's made us all think and look at the situation. Well, so let's now join together, because what we've ended up with, you've got to admit, is a much improved motion. We haven't taken anything away from what you guys were proposing originally. We've actually strengthened it and added value to it. So let us, if we're genuine about wanting to reflect the diverse town that Watford is, as a council, let's shout out loud and clear and vote together. Speaking of myself, I'm only in politics. I joined politics, in fact, to fight racism, to fight for equality way back when. It's taken me a long time to be in a body of council where I feel completely at home and at one, because quite genuinely, we've got a diverse group. I'm diverse. I was born in India, of Portuguese and Indian heritage. I've lived in Ireland, all over. So I'm very diverse. But we don't need to have that debate anymore. And I think that's what we should be celebrating. As Dawn has just said, this council is the most diverse possibly in Hertfordshire, in every sense, not just race. Race, gender, age, you name it. We are the most diverse. Let's celebrate it. I urge my Labour colleagues, accept the amendments and let's move forward.
Thank you very much, Councillor Martins. Councillor Dinser, thank you.
Yeah, I just want to make a few comments.
Microphone, please.
Sorry. I just want to make a few comments. That, yes, I accept there has been a lot of work done over the years, but Labour group has been diverse for a long time. When I came onto the council about 30 years ago, we had Mo Jinnah and we had Rashid Chowdhury and myself come on in 94. But issue here is about the Lib Dems. For a long time, it was just Rebbe only. And then I'm saying that improvement has been made over the years. I put Dorothy under a lot of pressure in the mayoral debates that the Lib Dems didn't reflect the town. They have begun to reflect the town now, which is good and which is welcoming. And for somebody to say, we don't need to have this, we have the most diverse council in the Hertfordshire County, we should have. We have the most diverse community in the Hertfordshire. Other towns in Hertfordshire don't reflect the community that's reflected in Watford. So even though we should be proud, but we still have a long way to go. We have not been in the town hall lately because of the pandemic and lockdowns. In my earlier days, I saw a lot of black cleaners, but hardly anybody in the directorship or the managing directors or senior managers. It'd be interesting to see the makeup of the council where the black and minority ethnic staff are, even now. How many of them are actually in decision-making decisions? And this is not a cheap dig at Lib Dems. Even your cabinet makes most of the decisions. You ain't got a single black person in there. So you need to reflect that in the future as well. And that it's fine to say, I'm giving the credit where it's due. It has improved quite a bit and I like to see that improvement in our staff. So if it's possible in the future, please, let us have the figures, what ethnic minorities we have in the directorship or the senior management team. I raised that in my prison. The prison population in my prison where I work is over 65% black and minority ethnic. Not a single person in the SMT, where most of the prison decisions are made on daily basis. And when I asked the governor at our full staff briefing, and his response was typical, we elect on merit. I said, there's plenty of black officers here, black civilian staff who got the merit, but the jobs are given in the prison service through word of mouth. Who you know, it's not what you know. So that's what I would like to see. I give the credit where it's due, but we in the Labour group has been diverse. And the other thing, I'm the only Sikh in the council, which I'm proud to hold that position. And as Dennis said, I mean, I don't want to go into my private what issues I have, but I'm the only Sikh, and we are diverse. We have Muslims on our council, we have Sikhs, we have a Jewish councillor, and we have now got young councillors, and some of us are a bit more mature. And when I came on, I was in 94. I think I was in my late 20s. So it's due, but there's more work to be done. Please don't say that we have done enough and we are doing really well. We're doing okay, and there's a lot more work to be done. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Dinser. So
I raised my hand.
I'm gonna have to move on now because we are pressing for time. Councillor Khan, you have the right to reply. Would you like to exercise that?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, my apologies. My apologies. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. I'm not sure what I've done wrong today. I'm not going to spend all my time telling the story of my life in Watford. I'm writing a book that will address that very soon. I'm just kind of amused as to why we are debating an amendment to this motion. I agree with Councillor Martin when he said that Labour Group brought this to our awareness to discuss this today. But what I'm not sure is whether these green and yellow lines here represent such a substantive amendment that we should actually be debating this. I thought what should be a reasonable compromise is that this should have been a joint motion between Labour and Lib Dem straight away, rather than us going to vote down this amendment and then vote for our own motion. This is a very fundamental issue that instead of playing so much politics between Lib Dem and Labour, we should just agree on it and move it forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councillor Ezefi. Councillor Khan, would you like to exercise your right to reply?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. And so, from the Labour Group, we will accept the amendments in full. So, just to move forward with the debate, it's important that we recognise that 54.1% of Watford is not white British; it's an ethnic minority. So, it's a very diverse town. Somebody who was born and brought up in Watford way back in the 70s, life is different from what it is today. And that's the key. The lived experience of people needs to be reflected in politics and everything that we do. I didn't talk in the debate previously about security and the police. And the police do have a major problem with diversity and how it needs to reflect the communities that it needs to police as well. But I'm not going to move into that. Just as an example, at the county council, from my last term in 2017 to 2021, out of the 70 odd county councillors, I was the only black and Asian councillor. And I can tell you, Watford is more diverse to what it is in the county council, whereas 70 to 80% of all the services in Watford are actually delivered by the county council and still are. So, diversity is only just here in Watford. We've got more to do in the whole of Hertfordshire to ensure that those residents that are coming in here every year, the new communities from Eastern Europe, the new Ukrainian communities, the Hong Kongers that are coming in, they need to be and show that we, as their elected officials, elected representatives, do represent them. And that's what the thrust of this motion is, that we are a reflective council. We will be ensuring that their needs are met and we understand them, and that's the purpose behind it. So, in essence, we do agree. We will accept these. You're not petty. We will accept these amendments, and let's move forward. Work still needs to be done, and it will continue to be done. And that's the thing. Nothing is perfect. We don't live in utopia, and we need to work towards as much as we can. And that complacency should never slip. We should continue to ensure, scrutinise and make sure we're the council that we need to be. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Khan. So, Councillor Tremaine, it's on you now. You have 2 little bits. You have your final 3 minutes to reply, and do you accept the amendment?
Thank you, Chair. I won't need the full occupation to do that. Initially, just to say, we've taken a couple of hits here this evening in terms of the debate, and of course we can do that. We'll go with the rough and tumble. Although I do wonder how many people read the source motion from which this is inspired, rather than the actual words that we'd written in the original motion, because we write specifically, and I wrote this didn't come from the source motion. The council has already made much progress, which should be acknowledged and celebrated, and has undertaken several aspects of the proposals on its journey towards best practice. So we absolutely do acknowledge that the council has made efforts in terms of trying to get there. And of course, we can include more detail, and I understand that's what you're doing with the amendment, and we're really happy to accept that amendment and take it forward. So, please support the amended motion.
Thank you very much, Councillor Tremaine. So that brings me on to the vote for the amended motion. It's now been accepted. So all those in favour, please raise your hands. And that's carried. Thank you very much. We're going to move on to the final motion, but it is getting on a bit. So if anyone does need water or a toilet break, please obviously do so. I'm going to keep the debate going while it carries on anyway. As indicated earlier, motion 3 and 4 are being replaced by an agreed motion. I call on Councillor Tremaine to withdraw the motion on the agenda. That would be the original one, if you're happy with that, and we'll bring forward the merged motion.
Yeah, I withdraw the motion on the agenda to make way for the amended motion.
Thank you very much, Councillor Tremaine. So now on to item 17, motion ticket office closures. As I've already said, there's an agreed substantive motion which has been circulated in place of motions 3 and 4. The motion is being proposed by Councillor Stotesbury and seconded by Councillor Watling. I now invite Councillor Stotesbury to move the motion. 7 minutes, sir.
Do I get 14? It's 2 motions in one, right? No.
Councillor Watkins had 21 today.
There we go. Well, thank you, colleagues, for this. And it's really great that we've managed to come together with an agreed motion. So we might be able to guess the result of this evening's debate. But it's really great to do this. Levity aside, it's reflected in the fact that there were 2 motions on this issue for how serious this item is. So just for those listening at home who aren't aware, there is currently a consultation on the closure of ticket offices across the country, as many as 1,000 ticket offices at stations. So what that means directly for Watford is that the Watford Junction ticket office is being proposed to be effectively removed and replaced by a roaming service to provide support. It's called a hub in the language in the consultation. Furthermore, it's worth noting that there won't be a single ticket office remaining across Hertfordshire. That's the length and breadth of the proposals coming out in this consultation. So it's really worth making clear just how severe these are. Moreover, we've got a very brief period to reply to said consultation. So we have from the 5th of July, let me check my numbers, not mislead everyone, the 5th of July until the 26th. I couldn't read my own writing. That's not very good news, is it? 26th of July to respond to this consultation. Why is it so serious? Well, fundamentally, there's a number of issues with this, and it does stem from the fact that government's putting cart before horse in terms of how they're trying to implement here. At the moment, our fare system is complex. It's difficult. Indeed, it's noted indeed by Hertfordshire County Council that there will be specific tickets where you can receive discounts that won't be eligible from a ticket machine currently, that won't be now served. You have to go to a ticket office to get that, basically. So people who reliably use the ticket office, know to go to that location to receive their discount. Ticket offices don't just sell tickets, but it's worth noting that as many as 3 million people still rely on ticket offices to buy their tickets, but they also go there for support and for information. And having a roaming office would detract from a known point of reference in the station. So this thing really should not be rushed or rammed through. It's a particular concern that it's very likely, in the view of both myself, Watford Rail user groups who I've spoken to, passengers I've spoken to, and indeed ticket office staff across the network, I should say, not to single any individual station out, that there's real concerns that this will negatively affect those most vulnerable, those most elderly, those less technologically able. So this should not be done lightly. Government should be reforming its ticket fare options to make purchasing tickets simpler. It should be staggering and staging and indeed opposing these changes and supplying additional support. If they've identified a need for roaming support in a station, let's provide that on top of ticket offices rather than remove a known point of support and reference in the station. We'll lose our ticket office at Euston, which is a major hub. So this is a really severe change to the proposed network in our area. So we're asking the Mayor to write to the Secretary of State for Transport, and indeed in my role as the transport portfolio holder, I've also instructed the Council to respond as a stakeholder to this consultation too. We're going to write to London North Western Railway, making sure that the Council opposition is clear, and moreover, please, Councillors, we only have a few days to do this reply, so please, I'd urge all of you as stakeholders to reply, and indeed, I'm sure we all do, and let's make sure that our residents do the same. So there's information in the motion for how residents can respond. Lastly, thanks very much to the Labour Group and indeed Matt for merging these motions and coming up with an agreed motion. It's very welcome indeed. Just for the record, we did attempt to do that with a previous motion too. I think it was just time constraints or something, but just to be clear, that was attempted. So I just really encourage everyone to support this motion as a whole and look forward to the debate. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Watling.
Thank you. I will reserve my right to speak at the end, please.
Thank you very much. Would anybody like to speak on this motion, please? Please indicate now. Councillor Clark-Taylor, Councillor Tremaine. Oh, no, you've already spoken. Councillor Clark-Taylor, please.
Thanks, Chair. I'll keep it brief, but there's something that's not mentioned in this motion, which I just also wanted to mention as an advantage of having open ticket offices. The Oxley Ward councillors and Mayor Taylor worked very closely with Arriva Rail London to have a defibrillator installed at Bushy Station, which was absolutely fantastic. But unfortunately, there was an incident where it actually needed to be used and wasn't immediately available. The reason for that being that the defibrillator was being kept within the Take It office overnight because of fears of vandalism, and unfortunately hadn't been put out the next day. There was an investigation with Arriva Rail London, and lessons learned are being taken from this. And I must stress that another defibrillator was sought, and fantastic help from the community was brought into play, and huge credit to everybody involved in that, and do not wish to politicise that situation at all. But what I would say is that this raises some quite serious questions. I find it very difficult to believe that Bushy is the only station in the country where the accessibility of life-saving medical equipment is contingent on the availability of ticket office staff. I think there is probably a very real risk that is something that is also in place in other stations. And actually, if we lose ticket offices, are we also losing gatekeepers to very important life-saving equipment, people who are trained in first aid, people who, if there is an incident at a station, are the people who are going to be coordinating that medical response? I think that that raises a very, very serious question. I can't answer that question as to how many stations may have similar arrangements in place and where that risk might materialise. But I do think it's a really, really important thing to bear in mind for all train operating companies who operate stations with defibrillators and such like at their stations.
Very good.
Thank you very much, Councillor Clark-Taylor. Councillor Tremaine, please.
Thank you, Chair. I too will be brief. I made a rail journey at the weekend, actually, that I've not made before. And the outward journey involved 3 different trains. At one point, the correct train to get was unclear. So I needed to talk to ticket office staff in order to find out what I needed to do. They were helpful and I went on my way. On my return journey, one of the trains that I was supposed to catch was cancelled, again necessitating speaking to station staff to understand quite what to do. This cannot be an uncommon experience. People, particularly paying passenger people, want to be able to talk to ticket office staff when they need to. The majority of arguments against these cruel, discriminatory and excluding policies have been made, but access to services at stations will be restricted by these proposals. Helping people who are disabled, who have accessibility issues, will end or be much reduced. The elderly are being sidelined and ignored, and those without access to or understanding of the use of online services will suffer. And most worryingly, the safety of passengers will be compromised. And you raised a really, really good point there that I was previously unaware of. So thank you for raising that. Our economy has been trashed. Now they want to get rid of a load more station staff. So there's a jobs issue here as well. It makes absolutely no sense. The hub that Councillor Statesbury has spoken about, we don't know what staffing is going to be there. It could be one person pointing where to go or to go to the relevant ticket machine. It's unclear, isn't it? So please respond to the consultation, the plea that has already been made, and please support the motion. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councillor Tremaine. Anybody else got any urgent matters on this motion? Unless I ask Councillor Watling to... Thank you very much, Councillor Devenish.
Just thinking about what we've been talking about with regards to police presence, safety, etc. One of the things I know when I'm coming back at 2 o'clock in the morning, there is a sense of relief that there are staff at that station. I actually believe it's one of the things that acts as a deterrent. So if we are talking about safety, police presence, the safety of our residents, we've just had a conversation before this about women feeling safe in Watford. I actually feel that having that presence in the ticket office is a really important part of preserving that in our community. So I would definitely encourage everyone to fill in the consultation and actually speak to your residents to do so as well, because once it's lost, I don't think it's ever going to come back.
Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Devenish. Councillor Dinser?
Yes, just few points, right. I'm quite a regular users of the trains because of my job. And I quite often have to use the office when trains are cancelled and I'm not fully aware. And the other thing is the tourism in London. A lot of the tourists are not familiar with our underground and our overground system. They always rely on asking staff at the stations. And in Watford, particularly the Warner Brothers, a lot of visitors come to Watford for that, and they would need advice and help. So I know Watford staff, the office is going to stay open, but this is a vital and crucial service, and particularly people who are older, who are not used to booking on computers or using those machines that, you know, where you use the Oyster. And so they're vital staff, as the point made, and sometimes it's very comforting to see them when you come back late at the station. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Dinser. I believe we look like we're all going in the same direction for this motion, so I'll ask Councillor Watling to
It's almost as if Jack was reading over my shoulder at where I start on my seconding, because I do say basically that Watford is unique in that we have 4 train stations. We have lots of human traffic coming through, especially at Warner Brothers, and equally a lot of people will be staying in Watford for cup finals and be going using the train. For basically it's cheaper to stay outside of London. Equally, they might be making their way to Stratford to see the Europa Conference League winners West Ham next season. Had to get that one in there, Jagtar. But at many stations, ticket offices staff are the only staff present. And passengers requiring assistance will only travel at times when they know that there will be staff ticket offices open for assistance should they need it for whatever reason. I mean, a good personal anecdote I've got of which feeds into what Councillor Tremaine said, actually, is I was on my way to the Uxbridge by-election recently and went to Watford Met Station, where there wasn't a single member of staff, and there was a couple wandering out aimlessly on their phone, trying, clearly lost. So I approached them. They were looking for the Warner Brothers bus tour at Watford Met Station. They were from overseas. They were German. In fact, the person in question was an acclaimed German television actor, it turned out, who had been in Sky One's Dream Team. So even people that are a bit more acclaimed still need a little more help than the average person. He described the TfL app as useful as a handbrake on a canoe, and that if there had been station staff to direct him, he would not have made this mistake. He claims to have not seen a member of staff his entire journey. Had the station staff been there to help, I'm sure they would have been on their way much sooner, and I think they would have just about made their tour on time. Speaking as someone that's partially sighted myself, as I mentioned at the previous motion, the proposed closure to ticket offices concerns me. I mean, there has been widespread and universal opposition to ticket office closures from disabled people's organisations such as Guide Dogs for the Blind, the Royal National Institute for Blindness, Transport for All and Disabilities Rights UK. Already, disabled people face numerous barriers in accessing the railway, and they're 3 times less likely to travel by rail than non-disabled people. This is discrimination, in my opinion, and it could be argued that this is a breach of government and train companies' legal duties to customers. Station staff, as mentioned by Councillor Devenish, almost like she's read my notes, provide safety for both other staff and passengers. The presence of staff has been shown to deter abusive and antisocial behaviour, which lives into what Councillor Clark-Taylor said regarding the defibrillator at Bushy. I feel like this has been leaked. And equally, also, ultimately, I can give you a personal anecdote where insisting on using a ticket machine left me quite red-faced. So I had a companion over from Europe, and last summer I took this person to Liverpool and insisted on showing them my university city of Chester. Thinking I knew best, typically I went to the ticket machine to get 2 singles and return tickets from Chester. The expensive and longer tickets were only available on the machine, including an exchange at Crewe. She insisted, which is typical in France, that we should go over to the ticket office and get something. Not only do I look like an idiot, we managed to get the cheapest trains within about 5 minutes. We spoke to a human, more for me. So that is why I will always be backing this motion. I believe we've backed motions in the past on this, and I'm very glad this is a joint motion, so it should be able to get me to shut up now and let us vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Watling. Sadly, Mick Lynch wasn't available tonight, but Councillor Watling can always step in when needed. Perfect. I'd like to move on now to the vote for the motion. Oh, sorry, Councillor Stotesbury.
I'll be really quick. I just want to say thank you, everyone. Great additions, and indeed, I regret that it's not even included in the motion. So just to say, we had a comment on the impact on health. We had a comment on the impact on support and advice, on confidence in the service, and indeed on access and safety. Exactly. Yes. Thank you very much. I would also note that actually I'm also aware, thinking about it, that there's also certain stations where you can only access the bathrooms if there's a member of staff available to unlock the bathroom. So even that practicality could be impacted too. Thanks to colleagues for the comments. I'll make sure that staff who are putting together the council's formal stakeholder response on this will listen to our comments tonight and make sure that all of them are covered. So thank you all, and thank you for your support of the motion.
Thank you, everybody. Well done. That brings us on to the final part of tonight's council. So I'll just quickly recap. Yep. Item 16, motion ticket office closures. No, this is item 17, motion ticket office closures, which is a joint motion in place of the motions from 3 and 4. All those in favour, please raise your hands. Unanimously carried. Thank you very much. Concludes the meeting for tonight. Thank you.